think that really sums up really well what this project is about, and brings back to perspective why ground cover is important, and why we need to, you know, decrease sediment runoff, because that's protecting our businesses and it's protecting our land. And when we don't have that, you know, we can't do what we do. So this is a little video which will just introduce the project for you.
Funded through the Queensland Government Reef Water Quality Program, the Grassroots Project is working with 25 grazing businesses in the Fitzroy Basin and Mackay Whitsunday catchments.
I'm David Keene.
I'm Lynette Keene, and this is Garden Creek Springshaw.
We've always looked after our country, but some of it we just, I think we need to be keeping on the ball.
I'd be certainly suggesting a bigger pipeline.
Yeah, that's right.
So that you could come through to here.
Improve our grazing management on our countries, control the erosion and not overgraze it where the springs are. We've got two girls that are other parts of our business, and we want to keep it growing for them and to their kids as well. So.
But it's just terrific to be involved with people who are looking to make changes in their grazing management, improve country health, which will flow on to improved less sediment to the reef.
So as I said, so it's a 2-year project, wraps up in June next year, and we've got 24 businesses that are involved in the project between those 2 catchments, and we've got about just over 145,000 hectares of land under management. But what I think is more exciting than that, than the land that we're working on, it's the people that we're working with. And it's those people that it doesn't matter where they go now, that they're going to have an influence on that land. So I think that's the really big thing to me about this project, is the people that we get to work with. And it's also been really great to work with both FBA and reef catchments through this, and we're all working together to support everyone involved and the producers, and we're all working with our own skill sets, and that's been a real privilege for us, and I know it's been really great fun working with the different NRM groups, and that's I know the producers are really enjoying that as well. So this is some of the outcomes that we're hoping to get out of the project. It's all about transitioning land and businesses and people, and I'm going to keep coming back to this about how we're transitioning people, and to me that's about knowledge, and it's coming back to decision making, and that's touching back on what David was saying. So when we've got good knowledge, we can make good decisions, and that's going to help our business, and when we're helping our business, that's going to flow on to help our land. So through the project, the people have gone through the Grazing for Profit School, and then on to, everyone's gone through our Next Steps coaching program, and a few other things there, and we've also been helping them, or the NRM group's been helping people with some on-ground remediation works as well, and the changes that we're already seeing, to me, it's the changes that I've seen in people. Over the last 12 months, the changes in their attitude, changes I've seen in families, that's the really thing that excites me, and I know what's going to follow is changes in land. So today we've got the pleasure of having David and Lynette Keene with us, who are involved in the project, and we're going to have a bit of a chat about what they've done and what they're doing and where they're going. So please welcome David and Lynette up with me.
Hello everyone, I'm Lynette obviously, and this is David here, and we're just going to tell you a bit about our story.
So initially we don't ever have any family involvement in our business. We come from Lynette's parents are down the north coast of New South Wales. They have a property there that it's very small, so she's got a larger family, so her brothers look after that and father. I have a family with a couple of other brothers and never were going to get any of my own, so we initially started in 1999 with ourselves. We managed properties. Initially, the first up the banks were going to do away. We couldn't get into our own property, so we started. So essentially, in 1999, we had 1 acre of land and 23 head of cattle. And as now we have, we're running 3 properties. We lease another property next door. We have cattle on adjustment on another one, running up to 1,600 head of cattle at any given time. So initially, because we had no one to look to where do we get information from, we were initially looking for a mentoring or someone to help us to get to the next step, pretty much. That's when we touched on a grazing clinic with RCS, and that pricked my ears sometimes because what we had started in there, we were doing things right years ago.
Can I just take a step back, though? Before we got involved in RCS, we actually had we got burnt out at Jericho Way. Fire went through and we lost 90% of our place. So it was quite a stressful time. We realised we discussed this last night, we actually forgot the importance of grass. It had all burnt out and we'd taken all through everything else like that. So we took it all back and we decided we had to do a different way of looking at things. So we were looking around for mentors and then we come across RCS. But that was a long process. It didn't just happen overnight. It was a long, long process. And I can remember back after we got back, even the kids were stressed out. Every time we saw a bit of smoke, they would, there's a fire, and like that. And previously to that, we were doing some of this stuff, but we forgot when we got burnt out the importance of it. So we were strongly looking for mentors.
Just want to briefly tell everyone about your 3 different places, just quick background, where they are, where you're operating, the area.
Where you can go.
The 3 places are central Queensland. So Emerald, one is Emerald, there, just south of Emerald, on Gindi, on the back of the dam there. We actually own only 400 acres there, but we lease 2,500 acres next door. It's at open downs country with a lot of stones on it. Garden Creek, as you've seen there, towards Springshaw, it's another open downs country which leads down to the back of the mountains where the springs that are. So very heavy black soil. And then our other 3rd place, which is our one out of Jericho, it's a completely different ball game. It's not in this catchment, but it's in the other catchment. We're right on top of the watershed out there. All 3 places are on top of the watershed. We actually have one creek running through all the 3 places is the only one. Everything we do on our places affects everyone downstream, sort of such. But Jericho is our breeder place. It's, a lot of sand, a lot of trees, but we're running on, I've just done the March figures, and we're sitting on 168 millimetres of rain rolling average for the year, and that's our 2nd year in a row, and yet I've still got cattle on there. The cattle still look good. Our calving percentage is down a bit. All the neighbours think that we're crackers because when it rains in a paddock, we actually muster them out of that paddock to get the grass roots down, and they're just sort of scratching their heads, but give them time.
So what do you think, you mentioned that you got burnt out there a while back. What do you think really triggered you to change your management? Was it a combination of things, or what really got you started to make you start to question what you're doing and look at doing things differently?
We wanted to be more happy about the way we were doing things. We were unhappy. We think it was affecting our kids. It was our lifestyle. We're getting frustrated with the business. So we started to ask around. We started to ask people. We're looking for it was changing our mindset. A big part of our business is actually changing our mindset, because we want to be happy doing our business. If we're not happy, why are we doing it?
And that's it. We still have outside jobs. And our biggest goal was to run on the place on its own. And we turned our thinking around. We've got our kids and that involved, and we turned our mind around, and you really can see the difference so far. And we've only been in it just over well, not quite yet, but not quite 18 months since we first had a touch with it, and you really can see the difference. Our thinking's changed. We're not as worried. Drought can be a scary thing, but it's funny. We're less worried about drought than we are other things at the moment, and you can see the difference in the country. It really is making a difference with why we're thinking, the way we're looking after it.
So I might just step everyone through the process that you've been through so far, being involved in the project. And I'm going to even take it back a step before that. We were just talking at morning tea then, and David was saying that you did a grazing clinic with our David McLean in Emerald a couple of years ago. And do you just want to tell everyone what you told us about that? David said you had a pretty interesting conversation at that clinic.
We did. I went to that clinic and David will still. Dave said, and I said, he sort of said, have you got anything out of this clinic? And I come back and in the February and said, so what did you learn out of the clinic in October? I said, I learnt that you put any sort of strainer in, just get the post in. And that's he said, you mean the only thing that you learnt was you put crooked strainers in? I said, yep, but there's a lot more to it. What essentially was, he just said, get a post in the ground. If you want to fence off an area, get a post in the ground and know what it is and get it fenced off. And that's what we started doing. And I've got a picture of this crookedest strainer you've ever seen, but it's in the ground, and the country is initially saved. It was a cheap fix. It was just a tree I went and, that had been dozed out years ago, cut it off, whack it in the ground, and we suddenly had a fence up there, which it saved that. And also that grazing clinic, I said, I come back to Dave on the second day, and I sort of said, we were doing this, but we got burnt out, and that's when we realised it's taken a long time for that penny to drop, that we actually were disliking grass because we were saving paddocks, and we were saving them too long. We were getting a lot into this phase 3, so when the lightning did strike, it rattled, whereas now we're getting around it a bit easier, and we've taken more of a liking to grass.
We love grass.
What about, so you both went and did Grazing for Profit School, and then you started Next Step. So do you want to, what's that process been like, Lynette?
Oh, it was sitting down there with a like-minded group. But I can't tell you more about the benefit of this. It's just, you just get your power back in some ways. It's learning how to do new stuff. As I said before, we'd done a lot of courses over the years, but never put it all together. And dealing with motivators who want to ask those questions and then taking it home. But then you're going to the next steps. Now, we got a one-on-one coach. He's like my God. He teaches me everything. But, he whips my ass too. You need to be doing things better. Don't get us wrong, we need to be doing... When we came back off that week, David actually moved into my office. We never had any... We have 2 separate desks, and God help me, I never touch his desk. But that was the importance of it. We started to work more as a team, and then the girls later on will mention, so we do meetings every 6 weeks, and all the whole process, and then having that one-on-one mentor was just fantastic.
I know I've heard you tell me before as well, Lynette, about how you, some of your friends ask you why you need a coach, and I think you've usually got a pretty good answer for that one.
I work as a casual teacher part-time, and a lot of them say, I don't understand what you're doing. What are you talking about? I said, do you have a fitness coach? And they all said, yeah. Well, it's like having a business coach. So that person's there to work on my business. So that's the way I look at it, explain it to those people, that it's working on my business. Whether it's a fitness coach or any sort of coach, that's the importance of them.
And in saying that, it's very good. With the RCS backup, you've got that burning question on that, that Saturday night or that Sunday night or whatever. You flick them an email, and usually within a couple of days, one of the RCS teams will flick back an answer or will give you someone who you can find that answer from, whether it be, has anyone got any ideas on electric fence? I did it a few weeks ago because we want to update electric fence to solar, and within 2 days, 2 of the RCSTs had flicked us back on, well, this electric fence mob here does it, and this is the one you talk to, and was just instantly. So the backup, whether it be the coaching or just other question, is well and truly worth it.
So what's going on with your grass now? How are you managing your country? What changes are you seeing? What's going on there?
Can you go back a picture? This is the garden. This is Garden Creek. This is the springs we're talking about. This is what we're out to protect. So as you can see there, the cattle really hammer them springs. So we've got that fence out now, and you can really, I haven't got a recent one, but yeah, you can see the difference. So that's our Garden Creek. Go to the next one. This is what we're dealing with out at Jericho. So as you can see, we've got a fair bit of stage 3 grasses. What we've done, because it's so dry, we have changed our nutritional thing to our up the urea, and they're actually using that. So we're getting use out of that. And the third one is what it looks like now at home. That is what we've done. So you go in there and there's multi-species. That's one of our grass check points. That's what the post is in the middle of it. That's one of our grass checks. So multi-species, you can just see the coverage on there. That there, we only rate that at like 10 stock days per hectare. And the grazing chart, we're monitoring the grass, but the grazing chart is one thing that we have really if anything I can say here, they're going to our grazing charts. If you could get hold of a grazing chart, it's one of the things at first you're going to go, what does it know? What does it know? But I tell you what, back in November, I was looking at a grazing chart and thinking, this is starting to change. I better do something. So I actually sold some steers off country because of the reason that my grazing chart was starting to get up to my benchmark. And I'm going to sell some steers. So I sold just a couple of decks of them. And the agent said in my other ear going, oh, don't sell them. Yeah, they'll be worth a quid. When it rains in November, they'll be worth a quid. No, I'm going to get rid of them. So got $2.99 a kilogram for them. Well, the tails of them ones there because you didn't take full word of what your grazing chart was. So I sold them in early February and got $2.20. So if you don't believe your grazing chart works, believe in it. I tell you that I can still feel that grazing chart hitting me up the backside now, because it really did work. So, but and it was a stage that it didn't get much over. It looked terrible on the graph, but it didn't get much over. The country still looks good, but I tell you, the grazing chart is your first indicator, and if I'd followed it to the letter, it wouldn't have cost me nearly 80 cents a kilogram for steers. So, yeah.
So do you want to step it down? Are you like rotating cattle around? You resting country? What are you doing on that front?
Our place out at Jericho, it's been on full rotation now for 12 months. Last March we changed it over. It's on a 9 paddock rotation. So the cattle there, we move them. They're on about a monthly rotation at the moment. We only have 2 other paddocks put aside, which is where we wean into. So it's on full rotation. Home is on full rotation. It's all fenced up now, and done. We didn't spend heaps of money on fencing equipment. Some of the wire we got out of old sheep fence out of our western property. Steel pegs. Once you put it out there that you want some stuff, I got steel pegs for $1 at a clearance sale, and just put steel pegs in. A cheap electric fence to start with. We just whacked a cheap one on individual wires. So it's all on full rotation, which now we do the monitoring. I taught our girls and that now how to do grass checks and monitoring, and they actually do the moves, and they will tell us that, and we've got to actually because some of the stuff we've learnt out of this is we have what we call an open diary. It sits on my desk, so if I'm away doing outside work or at the other properties, someone will just, if they do a move, it just gets written in that diary, and when I come back, we put it loaded into the grazing charts and stuff like that, and it's written in there, rain, movement, what went moved, and it's just made it so much easier. Just these cattle, the paddocks are actually sitting on rest there now, and after this rain we just had this last couple of weeks, you really can notice a difference. We've just got a body of feed.
You want to tell them how much rain we've had at Jericho in the last 12 months?
Yeah, I did. So our rainfall at Jericho is 168 mil. Home we're sitting, should be on about 500 mil out there is your average. Home was on 600 mil average, and both of them places are sitting on around that 300. One's 290, the other's 310. So we're sitting on less than half our average, as Dave said. But all we are catering for is we're doing the ups and downs. So I'd rather get the hooves off the paddock, market them, and put the money in the bank, because while they're still standing up that way, you can get money for it. When they're that way, you've got to dig a hole. So, and our cattle numbers are going the same way as our rainfall, but we've got to jump on it. So, and we've got country shut up there enough now that I don't have to worry about where I'm going to put weaners this year. So I've got country all set aside for that planning ahead, which is something that we really have learned out of that initial plan.
Have you noticed a change in the condition of your country too? Like you're sort of sitting at, half the rainfall that you would like. What's the condition of your country relative to that, to how it would have been, say, 10 years ago?
Even sitting on half the rainfall, we can notice our country still looks as good as it did after anyone else is on a good season. And as much as Dave was showing there the pictures of the neighbours, I've even got it. I'm sort of scared to put it out in case I upset a neighbour, but I've got pictures there where we've got like a foot of grass on our side of the fence where theirs just looks like the road. But they've been doing it for years, they know. And I'm not even putting cattle back in there yet, so it really has. And while we've got the grass there, it's not running down because that's what we say. While it's in my paddock, it's worth money to me. Once it leaves the boundary, and if it ends up out in the reef, well, we don't. It doesn't. I don't gain anything from it.
What amazed us is how quickly it changed, though. I mean, we've really only been doing this since February, and already we see major change. We're really excited because we reckon it's going to be even better, though, and that's what we're looking forward to seeing.
So it is, do you think looking after your country and reducing sediment runoff is important to your business and to your land, and we should all care about it? Oh,
yeah. Look, while it's on our place, we can make money out of it. But as soon as it leaves our boundary, whether it be in the neighbours, and he's going to whinge about it because it fills his fence, or it ends up on the reef, it's worth more money to us. So, yeah, a lot more money in our paddock.
Now, there's a few other people who are involved in your business. Do you want to introduce them and get them up here for a... Come on, girls.
Yep. So the other half of our business are 2 girls, and they have probably gained as much out of us what we have. We have something we learnt in this grassroots stuff was that have meetings of the whole family. So initially, I got Brianna and Ellen. They actually are only 12 and 14, but they do a lot of the moves. We have our business meeting, our Wattbees, we have on 6 weeks, and they will bring out the best in your day. So, but I can ask Brianna, what's one of the best things you get out of our business meetings?
That we learn to manage our property better and make it more profitable for the future.
So, and you still get a say in what happens, eh?
Yeah.
And what's some of the things that you've brought up since we've been having our Wattbees?
That we need to fix the trough in the yards, and we need to move the cattle this time because the grass is getting low, and yeah.
So yeah, and they still have a full say in everything that goes on. So
we're pretty proud of the fact that we're only first generation, though. These guys are going to be our second generation, so that's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you think this whole process has taught you, going through with what you've done with RCS and within the Grassroots Project? What's the biggest thing you've taken out of that?
Trust your grazing charts. There was a time there we thought, we're just putting all this stuff in here, it's fantastic, it looks good on the wall, we might win some competition. Then we realise, whoa, it's moving. What are we going to do about it? You're going to make some hard decisions. It's not going to be easy because we've been there, but they're going to be the right decisions for your country. And ultimately, as they said, we're grass growers. That was a hard mindset to get around. Yeah, we're grass growers, not cattle producers. I love me cattle, don't you? But at the end of the day, I want them alive and healthy. And if that means selling them, well, that's fine too.
One thing I think that I've got out of it was having that someone to back you up. You're not going to ask them every decision, but you're going to ask them that, it gives you that idea. I'm not doing it there myself because I've been accused in the past that, Dad, if we just had a USB port into your head, we'd be able to see what you were thinking. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people in this room will be thinking exactly the same thing. Whereas we have these meetings every 6 weeks, that USB port has been found, the stuff has been put on the table there, and some stuff that I thought, geez, I should be doing this, I'll get a tap on the head and go, no, Dad, we need this one done first. So it's just, it really is getting out, and it's made our business just so much family friendly. they know that, well, why we're doing this reason we're doing this like this, the reason we're doing that, and then because they haven't been in the grazing industry for umpteen years, they'll throw that square ball at you and you go, that won't work. Oh, maybe that will work. And it just comes from nowhere. They don't have perception of it not working. So we've started to listen to them and it seems to be working.
Ella was the one that told us we had to be quiet, that we actually should go back and learn to put our hands up. So I said to her, rightio, you can run the next meeting, and she did. She's not my bravest person up here, but she did all that. She ran one of our meetings. So how fantastic was that, Ellen?
Yeah.
So what's next? What's the future look like? What's the Keene family going to be doing in another 10, 20, 30 years? What's happening?
Out of what we had, it's that 8 weeks ago, we got told we got to, DJ and I left Keene, we got to change that to, we had an undername, which is North Down Cattle Company, and we got told by one of our partners that we should be using the North Down Cattle Company because it makes us all feel part of the business. We're in it for the long haul. We believe that our cattle business is one that's going to be self-sustaining to ourselves and into the future. We got these places to where we are now, and we're just realising the gold mine that we're sitting on, we have not even reached half its potential. Since we've started, you can see we've actually, probably before we started this, all we were worried about was getting that bank payment to that bank payment. Actually, this year we've actually got all the bank payments sitting in the bank there at the moment for the next 18 months. So that's a start, and we've still got cattle behind us. You go, where did that come from? I've still got grass there, so in weeks to come, we might be looking to buy cattle, or if we can't, they're too dear to buy, we'll put an adjustment on. So our business is slowly going to be sustaining ourselves, and most likely probably 3 to 4 families in the future. So we're on the long haul, and it's going to be big.
What about you, Lynette? Where do you see things going? What excites you?
What excites me? My vision is to be happy about what we're doing. I want to be enthusiastic, and I want the girls to be involved in it. I want all those good things he's been saying too, but ultimately I want to be happy to do what my business is. There's no point doing this business if I'm not happy about it. I'd rather be doing something else, quite truthfully. But anyway, things have changed in the last 12 months. I might have to change my vision, but I'm happy doing this.
Is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we see if there's any questions?
No, I don't think so. I think if you've got a chance to get into the grassroots, it's just that really easy way to get you in and thinking and make what you think is probably not a major profitable business into a profitable business, and you can still have your outside jobs. We didn't start by any handouts or anything like that. We actually had outside jobs. We still got them outside jobs, but the outside jobs now, we actually got them to a stage where we dictate to when we go to work outside, our property is priority, and it seems to work. So I think if you did have a chance to get into the grassroots, I would strongly recommend it because you don't realise the change it's going to make. So that's it, and that's what we're doing it for, the future.
Becca's looking at me, but please put your hands together. That's a lovely story of yours, and I love seeing you as a family, really getting everybody involved, and then that's lovely to see. And like you said, the younger generations, they come up with ideas you wouldn't even think of, so that's a plus. And utilising those skills is excellent. And thank you, Beck, for giving us that insight into the Grassroots Project. Tomorrow we have our field day, so we will hear about the local grassroots producer up Proserpine Way. So that's another fantastic story to be told tomorrow. And have we got any questions on the floor at the moment? Sorry, there's one. Dave Hunter, yes. Can I get the microphone to... sorry, we've got them over here. Okay. Thank you. It's just Dave Hunter, thank you for standing up.
Thank you for an excellent talk. Now, this is going to be controversial and at risk of throwing a hand grenade into the room, but given your experiences, do you think in the future that people who want to get drought relief should be compelled to use some of the money they get for it to do a course like you've done?
Well, I would have to say yes. There's going to be and I do agree. I think there's probably in the future I can see that if you haven't done some of these courses like you've done, they're going to dictate your stocking rates and that into the future. But I do honestly believe that they should be using that drought relief, because you'll see any of the ones that are not using their country's property properly are the ones that the first ones put their hand out, and yet you only got to look at a fence line and say, yeah, I do believe they should be. I don't know how you'd force them into doing something like this, but it would be worth more to the grazing industry if people did something like this than they did drought relief.
I believe it's about managing for your next drought, or managing for your next fire event, or managing for whatever it is. And if you can spend that money learning to manage that for that next event, then well, isn't that money well spent?
Because as dry as it's been out at Jericho, and up till January we're sitting on 108 mils for the year. I've used 2 bales of hay, and the only reason we used them 2 bales of hay was because we're trucking cattle off the place to go to the meatworks, and we put them in the yards overnight. Otherwise, we have not spent any money on hay or anything else. The only we're background feeding a couple of cows here at the moment that have got dog bites. That's the only reason we're putting fat on them so that we can meatworks, because you can't sell them in the sale. Otherwise, we do not buy any supplementary feed. See, we've seen the signs early, and they have gone. That's what I say. The money's in our bank, ready for the next to buy it out, rather than buying feed, putting in someone else's pocket.
Yes, I agree with that. Have we got any other questions on the floor? Okay, we're very close to lunch. Beck's just like to say something else?
So we've actually got another project similar to the Grassroots that we've just got approved. So if anyone's interested